Debate live. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe. Hit the bell notification icon and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate. If you would like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live, and there's also a Ko-Fi, Patreon, crypto and thanks button in the info box below the video. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the nature of Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel, so please share the show on Facebook and X. Now we are joined by Brian's Logic, Refracted Curvature, Neil Constantino, and a whole bunch of people in the Flat Earth Debate Discord server, so welcome one and all.
How are you?
Good morning, gentlemen. Good morning.
Good morning. Welcome. Now, we may or may not get a commentary on this, but while we potentially still have him, because Brian's doing other things for the next hour, I'm going to play out a shorts video that Brian wanted to get through, just in case we still have his attention. If we don't, we'll discuss it anyway. So,
I'm here. Yeah, I just kind of can't join in, but I'll join in for this bit. Yeah.
Okay. Do you know who the videographer is?
No, just around. Something science is our name. Something science is our name.
Museum of Science?
Yes.
Just about read it from this distance on my big screen. Okay, as always, with videographers that we cover on this channel, please let this videographer know, even though we've literally just started the live stream, at Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me. The idea being that if she were to respond to our critique of her shorts video, she'd put a little link to our video, helping us in the algorithmic love we do not receive from YouTube. So please let her know at Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me. Help her along in the YouTube algorithm. Not sure how big she is or who she is, but we'll have a little listen now and see what she's got to say.
Only ever see the side with the man in the moon. But just like Earth, the moon is rotating on its axis. It's spinning. So why don't we ever see the back side of it? This is easier with the demonstration. I'm using some styrofoam circles and small balls to represent the moon and the Earth. Put together, I can create a model of how they move. This kind of model is called an orrery. Mine is very simple. It's an apparatus for representing.
As you see, she said that it's rotating on its axis, just like the globe. Right? Now, that is not what's happening. Because if that was happening, right, she shows what the outcome of that would be, which would be that the back side of it would be shown at some point. But she goes on then to claim that it's happening and do a demonstration. You'll see in a minute that is not what she's saying is happening. Because the globe out, you will see, if you're looking from a different standpoint, looking at from the sun, you will see the globe out rotating all the way around. Right? The same thing would have to happen with the moon within their claim. That's my
positions,
point.
motions, and phases of the planets, satellites, etc. in the solar system. So as I move this, you can see that the moon is revolving around the Earth. Let's give it a face. Moon face. If we just moved it like this, you would see that the side of the moon facing the Earth is changing. So if that was true, then we would see both the front and the back of the moon. But remember that the moon is rotating on its own axis at the same time. It takes the moon the same amount of time to complete one spin around its axis as it does one revolution around the Earth. So the same side is always facing us. Most orreries are fancier and much prettier than mine, but even my little model counts as an orrery.
Don't see the problem, Brian. So what she does is she shows that either the axis itself can be shown to rotate in relation to the cog system that she's got, where she holds the moon with the smiley face and twists the blue pad underneath that's circular, right? That makes the axis rotate and the moon stay still. Yeah? Now, the same effect can be achieved if she moves it around holding the moon, which is to say that the axis will rotate, effectively meaning that the item itself is rotating, versus the orbit around the Earth that she's showing. Straight into La La Land. I didn't necessarily know what this video was, and Brian used the word it, and he was too close to the start of the live stream for me to say, what is it exactly? Moon orbit and rotation is the answer. But there is no issue with what she's shown. She's showing the moon that she's having to twist the moon about its axis when she holds it in place and rotates it in an orbital fashion around the circuit of the Earth in this orbital demonstration.
Yeah, but she's not. This is the thing. Her first demonstration was showing what would happen if the moon was rotating around its axis like the globe Earth. The second demonstration is it not doing that. It can't do that due to its tidal locking. This is the thing. They all believe that it's rotating on its own axis when it's tidally locked. It can't. One thing stops the other. And that's why she had to hold the moon when she and move the bottom, move around the bottom, because the moon is not doing what she's saying the globe Earth is doing. They're not doing the same thing. It's been claimed they're doing the same thing, and all the ballers believe they're doing the same thing when it's obviously something different is happening within that paradigm.
Fine. This is going to end up in an agree to disagree situation, because I simply don't agree, based on her demonstration and previous demonstrations, that it's not rotating about its own axis. As far as I can discern, it is. You're saying it doesn't because it's tidally locked with the face shown to a different rotational axis, which it's still rotating about. But as John pointed out, you'll only ever describe the moon in its rotational state based on its own axis. Now, regardless of if that axis is tied tidally to something else that's spinning, or if it's about its own axis independently, if it turns, and it does. So it is turning about its own axis as far as I can discern. You disagree, and I understand that.
I do. I disagree.
I understand.
Yeah. Look, maybe bring it up when Adam is here or something as well, because what I'm saying is happening is just a product of the tidally locked orbit. It's not a rotation upon its own axis, like the globe is claimed to do. That's my point. But look, I'm not going to make a thing out of it. I wasn't even expecting you to play it on the show. I actually thought you were just going to. I just threw it in there for people to see. That's all.
No, that's fine. I don't mind rehashing these things. This is a bone of contention that's going to linger around like a stale old fish hiding behind something. But there we go. That's just the way it goes sometimes with these things. It's advanced heliocentrism. We're in La La Land to have these discussions, so we shouldn't get as annoyed about it. And I'm not going to let the whole show turn into it. We've done a 5-hour session on it. Neil, I'm about to gift memberships. Get on it, says Jardo.
You gotta give me time. You gotta give me time.
Well, maybe he'll give you time. He's giving you forewarning. Thank you for the super chat, Jardo, and thank you for the incoming memberships. Really appreciate the support.
I've seen that Professor Dave put out a new video about flat earthers, if you want me to post that.
Yes, I knew there was something. Yes, please. Can you post that in Master B and we'll cover that? Yes, indeedy. He's covering Eric Dubay, isn't he?
Yes, he is. Give me just a minute. I'll be right back.
Okay. Eric Dubay is an interesting one to discuss, right? Because he rubs a lot of people up the wrong way for seemingly no reason. At least in the past, that was the case. But he seems to have softened with age, which is to say he doesn't do that as much anymore. He just stays focused on the topic, which I like. So over time, I've warmed to Eric Dubay more and more. However, he was the instigator of a lot of people going around calling everyone out shills right at the start of this endeavour. If anybody remembers that. Is anyone around when that was going on, or am I alone in this? Is it too far back? Really, too far back for those who wouldn't have remembered when Patricia Steer and myself and Dave Weiss and Jaron were all one big crew. Not anymore.
That was so offensive. I can not to. What's happened lately? So let's just forget about all of that. They're backstabbers.
Well, it's an interesting segue into what I was hoping to discuss, although we will get covering this video about Dubay. So I wanted to, and that is the segue, discuss how we are currently in this subject, where we're at, what the community's like, things like that. So talking about Dubay, who's been around since the start pretty much, is a nice segue into that. Maybe we'll just end up covering Prof Dave YouTube channel's response to Eric. We'll see. Should we just get straight into it? What do you reckon?
Here is the handheld carrier pump, a tool that can inflate all tires. Put the nozzle on the tire and press.
Hey everyone, it's been quite some time since I've talked about flat earthers, even if they never stop talking about me. But although the self-proclaimed champions of flat earth change over time, most of their brainwashed flock still seem to bring up one particular guy as their messiah, and that's
Self-indulgent stereotype and poisoning the well fallacy, all in the first 15 seconds.
Eric Dubay. If you're not familiar with this buffoon, he's a pointless grifter and yoga teacher who took a garbage 19th century book by Sam Robotham called Zetetic Astronomy, Earth Not a Globe, and shamelessly repackaged it for today's gullible masses with some crappy pamphlets and YouTube videos collectively entitled 200 Proofs Earth is Not a Spinning Ball. Despite having been debunked countless times, flat
Baseless assertion. Is he going to present any of this to stack it up? Shout out to Jar Doe for gifting 5 memberships. Really appreciate it. Thank you very much indeed. Bible, you got a membership. Lumpy Gas in the Vacuum got a membership. Dirt Popper got a membership. Neil got a membership. Excellent stuff. And Keltrick got a membership. Cool. Very good.
Succeeded. Thank you, John Doe. You are the man.
I'm delighted that you're pleased about it. If you did want to become a member and not necessarily hang around for someone to give you one for free, it's like a couple of bucks for a month, just so you know.
Flat earthers somehow still reference this tool, so I thought it would be fun to go through all 200 of his so-called proofs and show how profoundly stupid they really are.
Oh, that's good. Well, good, because it means you're getting into the substance of Robotham, which is good, because it means that we can critique things from the old time that you would claim to be the flat earth proofs of way back when. If you're saying they've been repackaged by Dubay, then perhaps this is going to be a critique of Dubay. We'll see. Hello, Adam.
Afternoon. What we
Wouldn't
got
that be
today?
fun? Now,
We're covering Professor Dave Explains YouTube channel. Should really give him his dues and promote him as I would anybody else. Please let Professor Dave Explains YouTube channel know at Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me. The idea, as ever, being that should Dave do a response, he would put a link to our video. So it's going by in the live stream chat now. As I say, you know the routine. If you're a regular here, please let him know at Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me. Did he put a link to Eric Dubay's video? Let's just check that out. Well, the flat earth debunkings, transcript. No, he did not. Rick. So, you're going to cover Eric Dubay, presumably in videography form. There's a video that you're going to be covering, and you've not put a link to his channel. Wow.
now, in order to do this,
As he's not done it, I don't normally do this, right? Which is to say, we're covering Professor Dave Explains YouTube channel, and as a consequence of that, I'm more than happy to put a link to his video, like I've just done in the live stream chat, so that regardless of if you're big, small, medium, same size as us, whatever, you get the algorithmic love that you deserve for having produced some material. Now, Dave, in this instance, has gone to the effort of producing this video off the back of Eric Dubay's material. Ergo, it should only be reasonable that there should be a link to Eric Dubay's video in Professor Dave Explains video, and there isn't. It's not there, as far as I can see. Unless I'm very much mistaken. Doesn't look like it's there. So, let's just check this comment section, just in case I'm being unfair, because he might have pinned... No, he certainly hasn't pinned a link to Eric Dubay's video. So, just out of courtesy, because indirectly now, if I don't put a link to Eric Dubay's channel, I'm as guilty as he, because we're now second-hand, admittedly, covering Eric Dubay's channel as well, right? Now, it shouldn't normally be up to me to link the videographer we're covering in his endeavours to cover someone else, but we're going to in this case because Eric Dubay is friendly. So if it would be possible, can someone from the moderation team go and dig out a link to Eric Dubay's channel, and we'll do what Dave failed to, and promote the material that's being utilised.
showing clips from his videos would take way too long. Instead, I've downloaded his ridiculous ebook so I can simply show the text for each proof.
They've downloaded his ebook that he's obviously put work and time and effort into and has the ability to publicise and distribute. No link to it.
quickly summarize, and then debunk it. That will keep the runtime down to something mildly reasonable, and then we also don't have to listen to his annoying voice. Although, if you're curious, this is what he sounds like.
And welcome back to Flat Earth and Other Hot Potatoes.
And this guy has followers. What a world. Anyway, let's get started. 1. The horizon is always flat.
Okay, what's wrong with that?
Any footage shows it to be flat, except for all the footage that shows it isn't flat, which of course...
Did it say that? Did it say any footage shows it to be flat? Is that what it actually says?
Anyway, let's get started. 1.
Let's make this a little bit bigger. 360 degrees around the observer, regardless of altitude. All amateur balloon rocket plane footage show a completely flat horizon over 20 plus miles high. On NASA and other government space agencies show curvature in their fake CGI photos/videos. So he's clarified specifically what he's claiming will and won't have curvature. I mean, you can't eradicate it all. You're taking it with a lens, even if you're just looking at it right, you're using your eyeball. But by definition, the horizon is always flat. So he's taken one aspect of the claim to take it apart based on his demonstration of videos that are taken through fisheyes and saying, well, look, I can distort the horizon. Okay. In practical application, it must be flat. We utilise it in navigation, Dave. Maybe you're unaware of our current rhetoric over here on Flat Earth Debate. Well, you'll be familiar when people are letting you know that we're covering you. The horizon must be flat. It's a geometric principle that's utilised in navigation. Are you unaware?
Right. But also, it's irrelevant what the horizon does at this point because we know it's not Earth curve.
Yeah. In terms of the positive assertion in this regard specifically, I mean, I've changed it. I've flipped the script and started talking about navigation with respect to the horizon. That's not on topic for this critique. In terms of the assertion in the positive from the globe side that the horizon represents the curve of the Earth, the contrapositive to the debunk in this first point, the horizon is always flat. Well, as opposed to curving away from you at 8 inches per mile squared and a physical geometric sphere edge hill getting in the way. Yeah, we debunked that 4 years ago, Dave. If the Earth was a sphere with a radius of 3959 miles, then every distance to the horizon, that's Earth curve for you, could be no more than 1.2 times the square root of the observer's height in feet as laid down in Earth curve maths. Distance to horizon in the Black Swan, beyond the geometric limitations of a sphere edge horizon at 1.2 times the square root of the observer's height in feet, ergo, the horizon is not Earth curve. The Earth is not a sphere. We've debunked this 4 years ago.
The horizon is always flat. Any footage shows it to be flat, except for all the footage that shows it isn't flat, which of course is CGI, because he says so. In reality, all sufficiently high altitude footage shows the curvature of the horizon, whether...
So you're going to take his oversimplification and generalization and make it in the contrapositive. No, all footage shows it always curved. Really? Okay. So what about all the instruments that utilize the horizon for its horizontal nature? Those are tools that are using the horizon. But what, these fisheye lens pictures of... This looks very fake, actually. This does look very CGI. I mean, look at it. It's got a green line around it. What's all that about? What's with all the lights? I don't know about this being real, but nevertheless, according to him, all images now have curvature. So what? Earth curve isn't presented as the horizon. We debunked that. Doesn't matter what they do, as John just pointed out.
Whether it's the 24/7 live feed from the ISS, amateur weather balloon footage, or anything else, much of which entirely predates the existence of CGI. Once you get really high, you see it. Always.
See what? We're all about the measurements here. In practical application, when we measure with the horizon, we're dealing with a flat Earth. That's real, that's measured, that's how we can prove it with measurements. What you see in a picture has a lot to do with the historical data of the camera, the lens, all of those sorts of things. Now, if you haven't got any of that historical data, this is purely anecdotal. I see a curve, okay? Give me the measurements for it. Oh yeah, they're laid down in Earth curve maths. We debunked it 4 years ago. 1.2 times the square root of the observer's height in feet. That's your assertion for the measurements of Earth curve. Not some anecdote about how you can see it in a picture. Yeah? As loose as the overcome, to be fair. But who cares? We segue it onto a practical application and a measurement of Earth being flat when we talk about the horizon here.
So this is a lie. Gee, do you think a lot of these will just be lies? Let's find out.
Well, you use the same lie. He says they're always flat. You say they're always curved. So if it's a lie, given that in his image that you presented, you've got, and on this one, a flat horizon. You say always curved, though, Dave. So are you a liar? By your own standards, the answer's yes.
2. The horizon always rises to eye level.
Number one, that's not true. We have dip correction. When we measure and practically apply the horizon for use in navigation, you would measure your height above the deck. That's called height of eye. And when you measure the horizon to establish a horizontal plane of reference, that's Earth being measured flat, you will correct for that height above what the horizon represents, the point where the ground appears to meet the sky. Well, you're above the ground if you're on a boat, so you measure that and correct for it. Now, that dip is dependent on your height and must be corrected for if you're going to utilize the horizon to establish a horizontal plane. It's called dip correction. Now, dip correction undermines the notion that the horizon always rises to level. No, the ground itself is what the horizon is formed by. And if you're above the ground, then the point that the horizon forms is below you. Ergo, there is a very, very slight dip that you can measure and account for if you're measuring Earth flat to do navigation with him, I might add, that negates this, that undermines it. However, by anybody's general perception, the horizon does always rise to eye level. It's just not true in terms of how you physically measure the horizon, or measure with the horizon in the case of dip correction. That's an angle to the horizon correction, straight line to the horizon correction, not possible on a globe. Again, because of the black swan, 4 years old.
No matter how high you go, the horizon is always in the same place in your field of vision. Another lie. Enjoy these pictures that show the horizon below eye level, proving that this is a dumb lie. 3. Crazy water stuff. This is where flat earthers get their dumb catchphrase, water always finds its level. First,
That's
Whoa,
true.
whoa.
Go on. Water level is a fact. It's used in building stuff. It's a crazy nonsense worthy of a stupid emoji face. Duh, water finds its level. Yeah, it does. It's a principle used in building. What's he talking about?
He just said eye level. The horizon's below eye level.
Oh, boo.
And-
I didn't. God, John, you beautiful man. Definitely. This is justification for why is my favourite.
horizon below eye level, proving
Eye level? What is it? No Atmo Day? No, you don't have that on a curved surface. What do you mean eye level? What are you going to reference it to? The horizontal? Well, according to you, that's also bent, isn't it, mate? Where are you going to get eye level from? Not from a sphere. You'll need a flat earth, my friend. Well done, John. I missed that entirely. It's right on screen, too. It's annotated.
that this is a dumb lie. 3. Crazy water stuff. This is where flat earthers get their dumb catchphrase, water always finds its level. First, he has no clue what level means. It does.
So when we talk about sea level, yeah, and we're taking averages of the level, is that not a principle also used in navigation? I'm pretty sure it is. I'm pretty sure those measurements of level are level. And they're with regards to the water level, the sea. I mean, it's so axiomatic for the entire world navigation system that if we denied it, we'd have a face like this, wouldn't we, Dave? Like you'll have after you listen to me pointing out how stupid this is.
Doesn't mean flat. It means perpendicular to the vector representing acceleration due to gravity, which
Sorry, that's what level means, does it? Perpendicular to the acceleration due to gravity? Now, I'm pretty sure that it's just 90 degrees to vertical with respect to the horizon. That's what level is. But you think that level is with respect to the center of Earth? No, because this point is not perpendicular with this anymore if it's moving to the center of Earth. So definitely not. It decries an axiomatic principle of Euclid. Definitely not.
which points to the center of the Earth. Gravity.
Sorry, this level here isn't level anymore, Dave. Now, even a numpty with a crazy emoji face would know that this isn't level anymore.
Well, he's denying the mathematics that give him the assertion the horizon was curving now as well, because he needs level to be a horizontal plane parallel with eye level as another horizontal plane to calculate that differential where surface level appears to meet the sky.
Right. Further to
And-
that, to describe the angle with respect to the centre of Earth, he needs a horizontal plane of reference to describe how it's not level with respect to each other, but moving to the centre of Earth with respect to a radial value. Well, these lines are angle measurements from hell. That's all they are. You're going to need a flat Earth for that too, to infer how not level is.
He is pulling everything to the center of the Earth, so
Pulling? No, gravity's not been a force for 109 years. Why is this guy an idiot?
level means perpendicular to that force, which is
No, perpendicular to a force of gravity that hasn't been a force for 109 years. You're an idiot, Dave. You know, just talking nonsense.
Perpendicular also requires a flat plane.
Yeah.
It's a straight line through the vertical. That's level, straight. Sorry, Dave, you're just burning your own house down right now.
essentially means any tangent line with respect to any point on Earth's surface.
Is that what it means by definition? The making up a tangent that doesn't exist unless you've got a plane of reference in the centre of hell? To have radial values to draw tangents to. You'll need a flat Earth for that too, Dave. You really need to keep up to date with the flat Earth debate.
Oceans are level, even though they exhibit.
So if oceans are level, then they're perpendicular to the vertical. Yeah? Well, if they're on a sphere, they're not level, Dave. Reascribing the definition with a diagram that contradicts it won't get you out of this conundrum.
Exhibit curvature, and this is how all the water molecules sit as close to the center of the Earth as geometrically possible. And
as geometrically possible, centre of Earth in terms of its geometry was derived by measurements of a flat plane also, Dave. So in terms of your origin to assert this geometry, to put non-level levels on a surface that's curved, you need a flat plane to do it because you'll be deriving that geometry by radial value. You add it as the marker to the centre of Earth. That radial value came from a flat Earth measurement to Polaris for the latitude. Minimum elevation angle to it gives you the outside edge of a flat circle of equal elevation. You call it the equator. Transposition of those areas with each angle to Polaris, increasing as you approach it, will give you a latitude system that you can stretch around a ball. But the geometry you appeal to requires flat Earth measurements. Again, you really should keep up to date with the flat Earth debate when addressing Dubay, because there's obviously going to be someone out there who's not using Rowbotham's material that can point out how your geometry you just appealed to has its origins in a flat Earth measurement.
second, his fantasy flat oceans can't even exist on his imaginary pizza land anyway. Tides are a thing. In his world,
But tides, what, the average level of the sea? You can place that on a datum, but you've got an entire horizontal expanse that rises and falls on the vertical datum. But it's an expanse of horizontal. It's a single number when you take the tide points at each height. Height itself of the tides requires a flat plane to describe. Everything you've just detailed requires a flat Earth, Dave. Is he a numpty?
tides are just little hills of water moving around by magic.
No, when you describe the tides, you take the expanse on the datum as a single point, referencing an entire horizontal plane at various levels on the vertical datum. Those are expanses of horizontal, Dave. Flat in nature. All of it. That's how it's described. That's why they call it sea level.
No flat water, even for Eric.
No flat water when it's described as sea level. Yeah, you can't describe the heights of something if they're curving away from you, Dave. You need a horizontal plane of reference to describe these heights of the sea. Are you an idiot? You think you're going to describe heights of things that are expanses of horizontal with respect to a datum on the vertical with a curve to them that have multiple different heights, you clown? He's thick. He doesn't understand how measurement works.
Whoops. 4. Rivers only flow downhill.
Am I Am I going nuts? Is the contrapositive argument from Dave the idiot going to be that they flow uphill? I mean, what the hell?
Yeah, including the Mississippi, which starts in Minnesota at an elevation of 1,475 feet.
1,475 feet above the horizontal plane of reference, Dave. That height needs a flat earth to declare, you stupid clown. Is anybody else not picking up on this? Every claim he makes needs a flat earth origin. There is no exception.
And flows downhill the entire time, all the way to the Gulf of...
Like downhill? Don't you mean down level? Yeah? Because in your stupid numpty world, there is no downhill. Because the downhill aspect is the slope with respect to the vertical when you're talking about a horizontal plane of reference to describe the difference in those heights from. But in your mind, level's a curve. So they're flowing on the level then, Dave. It's nonsense. It's utterly stupid. This is what you've got to do to be a glurf. Engage in non-stop contradictory doublespeak. So that's what this is.
Of Mexico at sea level. He just pulls this...
At sea level, Dave, just need a little bit of flat earth to make your globe claim, do you? Go on, John.
There's also the down part of downhill requires a horizontal plane of reference.
Yeah, he's got to say inhill.
Inhill. Yeah, inhill. It's not inhill. No moron says inhill or outhill.
No. You're missing one step. In level, meaning how you describe the way a river flows. In level, as in with respect to the centre of a sphere Earth as he described with a radial value and an angle from a plane of reference. A flat Earth requirement measurement that he's describing in level with. Because everywhere's level on a curve. Therefore, if you're moving along a curve, like going down a hill, if you're a river, that's in level, according to his description. It's utterly stupid. No, not downhill, Dave. You can't have that. You'll need a flat earth for that. In level. Obviously, it makes no sense anymore. Because you've violated a principle that you need to describe how downhill it's going from level.
11 miles thing out of his ass and doesn't even specify what he's talking about. 5. More with rivers, or really just more gibberish. If the Nile were to flow 1,000 miles with an elevation change of 1 foot, then it would do that no matter what the shape of the earth. This is not an argument. No rivers flow uphill. He's just lying. He could cite specific locations and elevation.
Right, no river flows uphill. Give us an example of one that does then. You stupid clown.
But he doesn't do that because he made it up.
Is there any audience member that's nodding along with Dave going, yeah, audience, yeah, I think he's right? Or why would you say that rivers don't flow uphill when I've got 5 examples of them flowing uphill? What's he babbling about?
He shouldn't be saying uphill either. He should be saying outhill.
Out level. Shout out to Chris Berry for the super chat. Says, Rob Noxious is lying about being a flat earther, FYI. Yeah, we figured that out. That's why he got banned initially, Chris. Then he lied about why he got banned, and in order to get back into the fold, so to speak, he lied about being a flat earther. Yeah, we're well aware. But thank you for the super chat. That's what you do if you're a glurf. You have to lie, Chris. Yeah, it's standard fare.
6. More water gibberish. Again, he doesn't know what level means. It doesn't mean flat. Water molecules...
So it doesn't. So when you describe downhill, the deviation with respect to a level, yeah? How are you going to describe that? So to decry what you've literally just gone through to rebut him in terms of the deviation from the horizontal plane when you're describing how downhill it is going, you're going to give us the diagram right on cue for us to point out that, no, for you, it's in level. If the river's going this way, what's it doing? Well, it's in level. Well, how'd you get the in level? Meaning downhill? It's just he doesn't have that to appeal to anymore because level isn't bloody level anymore, is it? So how are you going to describe the deviation from a horizontal plane of reference if level isn't level? If all planes move to the centre of Earth, you'll need a plane of reference to describe that from also, Dave. This is total garbage.
Molecules are not magic. They get pulled to the center of the Earth by gravity just
by a non-force. How can a non-force pull things, Dave? I'm a bit lost for how you seem to think that this explanation for a defiance of Euclid's principles gives you a force pulling things away from a principle of definition when it comes to level. No, gravity's not even a force. So it's definitely not going to defy a definition.
It's like everything else. Oceans exhibit curvature and are level.
Oceans exhibit curvature and are level. No, they don't, Dave, because in terms of areas of equal elevation, if you're doing navigation with the ocean and its level, then that's a two-dimensional circle of equal altitude, no deviation in height, a two-dimensional circle. It has to be to work on mapping and find your location at sea. It has to be flat, Dave. You can't have areas moving away from you in a curve-like manner, in level, meaning downhill. That's stupid. Navigation wouldn't function if that was the case, Dave. You obviously don't understand how the Earth has been mapped. Furthermore, you don't understand how your globe came to fruition, because it came to fruition with areas of equal elevation also, measured with Polaris. Maybe you should look into that.
7. Trains. He is pretending that train tracks can't handle even a millimeter of curvature.
Right, what, a millimeter of in level? Yeah? According to you, level is a curve now. So they can't cope with in level, as absurd as that is. Shout out to Daz for joining as a hyena. I say, if you did want to join and take part in the live member streams and uncut after shows and all that stuff, clips that come out before the public get 'em, it's a couple of bucks. So yeah, just join as a member. You don't have to wait for someone to gift you one.
In reality, train tracks go over hills and mountains and run through valleys and conform to local geographical features.
So those hills and valleys will be described with their elevation with respect to a horizontal plane of reference that we measure. Reference. That's a flat Earth that we have to measure and reference to tell us how high or low they are, Dave. Yeah? Is it just me, or does he just need a little bit of flat Earth to move forward in his globe belief? You know, I only need to describe how hills and valleys are coped with by trains as a deviation from a horizontal plane of reference in elevation descriptions. I just need a little bit of flat Earth to claim it's a globe. Yeah, Dave, you're going to need a flat Earth measurement to make this assertion for the deviation from level when you describe how high or low they can cope with.
That exhibit thousands of times more curvature than the curvature of the Earth. So he's a moron who's never actually seen train tracks. Also, bridges are...
Really? That's me thinking that they had to blast out massive hills and valleys and drill tunnels in order to maintain a level that the trains could cope with. And when they got the heights to calculate how high or low the elevations would be for the gradient that the trains could or could not cope with, they referenced a horizontal plane to get those heights, Dave. They measured a flat Earth to see if the trains could cope with the incline or not, Dave. And if they couldn't, they blasted their way through the hills and valleys. What's that you say? Level is a 8 inches per mile squared deviation from level, meaning level isn't level? No, that's absurd, Dave. No, you wouldn't be able to claim how not level it was with respect to the angles at hell unless you had a horizontal plane of reference to describe it from, Dave. You can't deviate this principle because otherwise your deviation won't have anything to deviate from. You need a flat Earth. Everyone does. Every claim this clown Dave makes will use a flat Earth in the first instance.
Are specifically built taking into account Earth's curvature. Long suspension bridges have towers that are not precisely parallel, and they are built knowing that they can't...
Right, not precisely parallel? How would you describe and term how not parallel they are? Oh, how much they deviate from a horizontal plane of reference. In order for these bridge builders to claim that their bridge is out of parallel, they will have to reference how not parallel it is. They'll need a flat Earth for that, Dave. Is it just me? Literally every single example in rebuttal is going to give an example of how Earth must be measured flat to describe how not flat it's going to be in this example. So it's not comporting to parallel. What? How the 90 doesn't match with the horizontal plane of reference there, Dave? What a clown.
Can't be precisely parallel because of Earth's
well, how would you know unless you've got a horizontal plane of reference, Dave? What a dick.
curvature. Ask people who build bridges. 8. The Suez Canal. Again, he's pretending that large bodies of water are flat because he doesn't understand what elevation means.
Yeah, because locks aren't a thing, right? It's not like they travel horizontal until they reach a gradient, and then you've got to have a system of locks to raise them up the gradient. No, they're just naturally curving. Unless there's a deviation from a horizontal plane of reference, then they need to lift themselves up. But the rest of the time, they just cope with all the curvy Earth gradient without any issue. It's only a flat Earth gradient they have to cope with.
Nathan, he's talking about the Suez Canal. Suez Canal is completely flat.
Has it got no locks? Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
No locks, yeah.
Oh, fair
the
enough.
locks is on the Panama Canal.
Well, that's embarrassing.
Boats go from one body of water to another, and all the water is level throughout. There's nothing parallel to anything, and
Right, if it's all level throughout, right, you can't use a description where you've got deviations from vertical, that's perpendicular, if you've violated the definition of what level actually means by utilizing a plane of reference in hell and the angles out to a radial value measured on a flat Earth to claim that level isn't level. You know, none of these descriptions make any sense for Dave anymore.
and there's nothing to talk about here. 9. Some engineer guy.
What? Is that it? No, you've got nothing to talk about because you can't describe something being level in terms of a description of a canal if you don't have level. And the level that you violated comes from hell and angles off the equatorial plane with a radial value for you to describe a force holding water to it when it's not a force. You know, that garbage required a flat Earth also, but you think there's nothing to say about it. No, you've got no rebuttal to it.
I said a thing. It's a long quote that starts with zero context as to what he's referring to, pivots to train tracks and canals, which we just talked about, and specifies that train tracks don't have to account for Earth's curvature, which is
absolutely correct. The gradients that they do have to cope with, and they will destroy at great expense, hills and drill tunnels in order to avoid any deviation from a horizontal plane of reference. No, they don't cope with or account for or measure or in any way utilize the notion that you have as a faith that the ground is curving away at 8 inches per mile squared. It doesn't do that, Dave, and the trains don't account for it. That's all he's detailing.
utterly insignificant on the local scale, dramatically.
Sorry, did you just say the curvature's insignificant on the local scale, even though it's defined in your rebuttal as being an angle from a plane of reference in hell? But it's also simultaneously so big it's flat? Yeah, Dave, it sounds like you're dangerously close to telling us how it's measured flat, but it's only because it's so big. Right? Insignificant? What about 8 inches per mile squared? No, that's not insignificant. It's calculable and claimed to be true and debunked 4 years ago by the Black Swan. But yet when we actually build things, there isn't any Earth curve for you to appeal to. They still have to cope with gradients with respect to the horizontal plane of reference, and will spend a lot of money blasting stuff out of their way if it isn't conducive with the gradient they can cope with. But that's their actual accounting for flat Earth gradient changes. Like he says, and is absolutely the case, it's just so big that we don't need to worry about any Earth curve. That means there isn't any Earth curve.
Outweighed by local topographical features. Also, I can't find any evidence whatsoever of an engineer by this name ever having existed. 10. More trains. Random numbers with no math shown, and continuing to pretend that train tracks can't handle anything other than flawlessly flat terrain.
Well, that's not strictly true. You know, they can cope with a certain gradient. But that doesn't mean that the gradient they can cope with can be violated. And it would be if Earth was curving. There's no account for it in the measurements and mathematics and expense that they go to cope with the flat Earth gradient changes. That's it. You know, you just hand wave it like it's unimportant. Why aren't you referencing some engineer in a train example that says, of course we cope with 8 inches per mile squared deviation from a horizontal plane of reference that we call Earth curve? No, nobody's going to give you that, though, are they?
How would they measure the difference?
With respect to a horizontal plane.
Exactly. It needs level to be level.
11. Another fake engineer quote. You can tell because he's as dumb as a flat earther. Trains can only run on totally flat surfaces. Except, of course, for the not at all flat surfaces, like the inclines they traverse literally all the time. But very carefully, of course, as though...
So how do we measure the inclines? With respect to a horizontal plane. Now go and get your citation that says, no, we cope with Earth curve and deal with it all day long because Earth's curving. No, you won't find them. They don't exist. They only deal with flat Earth elevation changes, because that's what they have to actually cope with.
So the train has to tiptoe on those parts. And 8 inches over 1 mile is ridiculous. Impossible. Who could imagine such a thing?
Well, they aren't. They're not documenting it. They're not accounting for it. They're not measuring for it. They're not doing anything with 8 inches per mile squared. Yet you even said insignificant. Well, that sounds like doublespeak when you tell us how insignificant it is and then give the maths that you need in your faith that does not appear in these engineering schematics for railways. It's non-existent for you, but we are showing you that they are definitely measuring Earth flat.
Insanity. 12. Wow, he's...
Pardon me.
Go on.
In those mathematics that he's appealing to for the 8 inches per mile squared has level as a horizontal plane of reference.
Yeah, Dave, that's a good point.
So,
yeah, when you describe 8 inches per mile squared, as John has just pointed out, those mathematics have surface level and eye level parallel with one another. They are not, as you described in your earlier diagrams, comporting to the centre of a sphere Earth with respect to a horizontal plane of reference in hell and a radial value that makes level not level on the surface of a sphere. No. 8 inches per mile squared, you say? Your Earth curve mathematics dictates that level must be level for surface level and eye level. They're not curving. You utter clown. Learn your own Earth curve maths we debunked in 2020.
He's really sticking with the train thing and pretending these...
Yeah, go ahead. Can someone dig me that out? Can one of just before you go, George, just one sec. Can one of the mods dig me out a diagram of Earth curve maths so I can plonk it on screen and show that surface level, for him to claim we've got a bloody Earth curve, needs to be horizontal? Because it's very specifically marked as level, detailed as level, and labelled as level for both surface level and eye level in Earth curve maths. This clown says they deviate and comport with a outside radius of a sphere. He's an idiot and he's defying his own mathematics, and I want to show him that with a diagram. Go ahead, George.
Sorry, is using a dingleberry. It needs a horizontal plane, surface level and eye level to be parallel, like you just said it on the Earth curve maths.
Can't have it both ways. You can't have a dingleberry dangling beneath a surface level that extends out to space and isn't anything to do with the surface, and eye level being parallel with it in the horizontal, and have this numpty say that they comport to the outside edge of a sphere. Level cannot be level and comporting to a sphere. By definition, it isn't comporting to a sphere. His description of gravity being a force holding the water, quote-unquote, level on the outside of a sphere is utterly absurd, doesn't make any sense. He hasn't got a force to make it do that, and it doesn't do that, and it breaches the definition. It also breaches his own bloody Earth curve maths, where surface level is very much horizontal. Someone from G+ want to say something?
I was going to say, the sad thing is, a lot of people are going to listen to this video and say, yeah, exactly, and buy it hook, line, and sinker. That's the state of flat Earth today.
Maybe people will look at his diagram where level in 3 different places at 3 different angles is level. Or they'll listen to us pointing out that no, even for your own stupid religious belief that we've got a point below surface level you call Earth curve that only exists in maths is simultaneously refracted to the point where you haven't got any tangents to anything because you haven't got any straight lines anymore. You want me to believe that because you say level isn't level. Maybe numpties will accept that, Neil. Maybe they'll accept that even in their own Earth curve maths, level is a principle that must be adhered to. It's horizontal.
These are somehow all separate proofs.
Perfect. Thank you, Divergent Droid. Let's just put this on screen for Dave the idiot, because he obviously doesn't understand how his own bloody maths works. Do we all see on this diagram how surface level is absolutely, without question, not comporting to the outside edge of a sphere? It says level, Dave. See that word, level? You see, unlike your bosh together in your own little CAD program, diagram of garbage where you put level in 3 different places on 3 different angles. No. Eye level, for your maths to claim 8 inches per mile squared, as you explicitly stated, and surface level, as diagrammed here in Mick West's Earth curve mathematics, identical to all Earth curve mathematics, must be parallel with one another. How the hell can they comport to the outside edge of a sphere when you say level, what, surface level, isn't level? What about eye level, Dave? Is that curving around the outside edge of a ball, you complete clown? Because I would suggest that your ideas about what level is when it's not level, and gravity being a force defying its own definition in your own maths, when it hasn't been one for 109 years, are just you in your ignorance, Dave. How stupid you can demonstrate yourself to be by violating a principle used in your own maths. Now, I expect a retraction from Dave the stupid numpty. He's lying to his audience by telling them that level isn't level. No, Dave, it's even level at the highest levels of Earth curve faith. Here it is on screen in your own set-in-stone maths. Do you want to rescind that crap, Dave? Because you're lying. Like you levelled at Eric Dubay. You're just lying to your audience about what level is, Dave. Because here I am with your higher echelons of mathematics defying that principle you laid out with your own garbage diagrams. Every Earth curve mathematics requires level to be level and horizontal and parallel with eye level. Defying the notions you've laid down when you lied to your audience, Dave, we expect retractions. I couldn't really give a crap what you do, Dave, but humiliating your stupidity is enough payment for me. They don't really have to make a retraction. I'll just say it for dramatic effect. You won't retract it. You're a liar. You'll keep it up for the money. Yeah? This is probably making you good coin, right? I'm sure it's had hundreds of thousands of views already. 300 to be precisely. Nice little earner. Dave the Glurf liar isn't interested in this fact, the truth about what level actually is. He'll just lie for money. He's a Glurf. He's a globe believer. Of course he'll lie to you. Doesn't matter that his lies define the principles of his own mathematics. That doesn't matter to Dave. He's a liar.
Yeah, people who lay out train tracks don't think about the curvature of the Earth because...
If they did, you'd show an account of them, and you haven't got one, Dave. So just saying, oh, no, they don't even think about it. Sorry, if they dreamt about it the previous night, would that make Earth spherical? Matters not what they think about, it matters what they document and account for. And they account for deviations from the horizontal plane of reference. That's a fact. Easy to show. Where's the Earth curve being accounted for? Oh, there's nothing but apologetics when you look at railway measurements, Dave. I've seen them. Yeah, they tell you how they don't need to account for Earth's curvature. It wouldn't be necessary. Furthermore, I've heard it's inappropriate to contend with a curve that isn't there. So they just deal with it flat. Yeah, that's what they do, Dave. They deal with it flat.
Because it's negligible and
negligible and yet 8 inches per mile squared. So they don't have to account for the curve that you say is there, so this isn't very good for proving Earth's a sphere then. You know, we would expect a measurement of Earth being a sphere, rather than an apology for why we haven't dealt with it that way. But you think, what, that's a proof of Earth's sphericity? Because they said they didn't need to deal with it? Oh, well, of course Earth's a giant unicorn. But in railway measurements, it's negligibly unicorn. So we don't deal with the unicorn aspect of it. It's only negligibly unicorn. Great proof of unicorn, Earth. Negligibly unicorn, right?
Completely dwarfed by local topographical features.
So the 8 inches per mile squared is suddenly overcome by the UK, which has got, at least in England, not that much elevation changes. I'm right in the centre. I'm only 250 feet above sea level. What are you babbling about? You're saying the topographical changes at 250 feet between the outside edge of my country and the inside point somehow has some relevance to 8 inches per mile squared, which would be a vast amount of deviation from horizontal, needing a flat Earth to describe it. Let's show how it would need a flat Earth to have described it. Here it is in the Earth curve maths. Surface level. And the differential between that and eye level parallel with it will give you an inference of a physical sphere edge horizon below the surface level. So you'll need a flat Earth to make the assertion anyway. Let's be honest. That's absolutely flat. Oops, wrong button. Oh, I'm pressing all the wrong buttons now. Where's that button gone? There we go, that screen. Shout out to Vlad on 0 degrees. Shout out to Eric Dubay. Earth is experienced, measured, and navigated flat and stationary. Thank you for the super chat. Really appreciate the support.
And
Coming
if
up-
you want to calculate it curved, and if you want to calculate a curvature, you're going to need it to be a horizontal plane.
Yeah, you're going to need to reference it as a horizontal plane to infer that you've got a point below the surface level that's called Earth curve and only exists in maths. Furthermore, if you challenge the fact that you haven't got a geometric horizon to measure in any way, shape or form beyond the maths that uses a flat Earth, they'll tell you that we haven't got any straight lines at all. It's all refracted. Like, so you haven't got any geometry, you haven't got any physical Earth curve edge horizons that exist beyond mathematics, and if you were to try and attempt to measure anything in geometric terms, you'd have no straight lines to everything. It'll all be bent always. Okay, this sounds like a complete shambles. It sounds like you haven't got any measurements. What do the railways actually do when they build stuff at costs of millions? They just deal with how flat it is or isn't.
Yeah, they plan it out. They make it a plane before they lay the tracks. But before that is surveyed, it must be measured, built flat.
Yeah. That was me thinking Dave would provide some evidence of how they measured it globe-shaped. No, they'll need a horizontal surface level and eye level parallel with it if they're going to be asserting that it's curving away from you below the surface level. I mean, that absurd nonsense isn't something you can actually measure unless you've got a flat Earth to infer it with.
I'm already repeating myself for a third time, and we are only on number 12. Unreal. 13. We see too far. A deliberately vague description of a light.
Go ahead.
Yeah, we're repeating ourselves a lot too, Dave. I don't know if you noticed that, but every single claim you made needed a flat plane. I think that's been pointed out how many times now?
This is something
Every time.
in 2024, this is something I strongly object to. Not just in 2024. I've been moaning about this for about the last 3 or 4 years. Right, we see too far. No, we don't. You, the globe believer, when we just see something that doesn't comport with your Earth curve maths that needs surface level to be level, Dave, yeah? See too far would be an assertion based on this. That has got level very much being level, Dave, just so you understand your stupid clown remarks when it came to comporting to a sphere, when it came to level, that stupid nonsense that we debunked and proved you were a liar by your own stupid low standards. This assertion is where you'll get the assertion as a globe believer that when seeing a skyline, you're seeing something too far away to see. No, you're not. You're just seeing Chicago. That's what you can say if you're a flat earther. There's no explanation required. I see Chicago. End of explanation. Prove it. I've got a set of eyeballs and there it is. I can see it. No further explanation is required beyond me opening my eyes and stating what I see. Because I'm a flat earther. What's that you say? No, we're not really seeing Chicago. It's a slightly looming non-standard refraction holographic projection from behind the physically reified geometric sphere edge horizon below the surface level that is flat and level and parallel with eye level, Dave. So therefore it's a mirage. We're not really seeing Chicago at all. Because I believe there should be an obstruction in the way called Earth curve, derived from maths that uses a flat Earth surface level, parallel with eye level. Unless you're a numpty called Dave who thinks level isn't level. Yeah. Meanwhile, me the flat earther, there's Chicago. No explanation is required. It's just what I see. Earth is demonstrably, observably, measurably, and navigatably flat. What's that? It shouldn't really be there. We see too far, do we? No, we don't. We just see. Unless you've got an Earth curve faith that isn't being padded out by what actually it presents to you with the evidence of your own bloody eyes. Then we see too far.
On the summit of something, but we don't know what, somewhere in Spain, which was seen from what I can only assume he means is the island of Ibiza, specifically a place called Campri, which doesn't exist. He pretends the elevation is the same, even though he mentioned the summit of something but didn't say what.
Wait, he says the... Yeah, you go ahead. You have it. You got that just before I did.
No, he's going to need a flat plane for his elevation.
George stole your thunder, John.
Yeah, we all can see it.
To describe the height of the island, it will be with respect to sea level. Do you remember that level that you didn't want to be level earlier, Dave, when you started lying to your audience of thousands? tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people that get lied to by you. Yeah, well, the heights are with respect to sea level. Like the surface level in your Earth curve maths, Dave. Yeah, the one that's horizontal, parallel with eye level in your maths also. Can't be curving. Or all your descriptions of how non-flat it is would fail. Meanwhile, the heights for this description require a flat Earth also. They're described with respect to sea level, Dave. Yeah. Sea level being horizontal plane of reference in this instance.
He lies about the distance, he lies about the amount of curvature, and of course,
surface level.
Surface level, yeah.
this is anecdotal and probably made up anyway, since I find no mention of this experiment anywhere on the internet.
Experiment? Don't know what science is. Call yourself a professor. Another lie, he's not. Yeah, he's full of lies, this man. Doesn't even know what experiment is yet and calls himself a professor. Sorry, you think measurements with respect to a horizontal plane of reference when detailing altitudes of things with respect to sea level, all flat Earth proofs, is an experiment? It's just measuring stuff, Dave. It's just describing how high stuff is, Dave. It's just referencing a flat Earth, Dave. It's not an experiment, though. That would be the assertion of cause and effect reasoning after observing phenomena, trying to figure out what it is, variation of the cause you assume. Experimentation, that's science, Dave. That would be an experiment. Yeah? Variation of your presumed cause in an experiment with isolated variables for everything that isn't what you think will cause the effect you were studying, to see if you can induce it. That's an experiment, Dave. Consider yourself educated.
Including Arago's Wikipedia page, which is lengthy. 14. Another C2FAR, which of course is a fabricated event that offers zero specific information.
No, it's a claim based on Earth curve maths where you assert that there's a physical geometric hill getting in the way at 1.2 times the square root of the observer's height in feet when you derive a point called horizon, in your maths only, not the real horizon, below the surface level when calculating the difference between eye level and surface level at elevation. Specifically, the point that they claim would be at 1.2 times the square root of the observer's height in feet after that derivation with flat Earth measurement. So when you talk about seeing too far, as I just detailed, it's a globe claim. It's quite convenient when the globers have flat earthers assert it, though. Makes a nice little false dichotomy that uses flat Earth in both instances.
Lies about the width of the channel.
Are you trying to say they have an edge?
They have an edge, yes. They have a hill that gets in the way called Earth curve, a physical geometric sphere edge, aka hill, blocking your view. Right up until the point that we show that the hill is now behind the things it's supposed to be blocking, then all bets are off. No straight lines to anything. It's like they've taken the chess table and wiped all the pieces off. I'm not playing this game anymore. I don't even want straight lines to make geometric assertions anymore. Everything's bent. I'm going off to play with my other friend.
Yeah, but that chess table was flat also.
Yeah, the chess table was flat to begin with. They were claiming it was spherical the whole time.
And the amount of curvature there should be. Are you noticing a pattern yet? 15. Airplanes. Yes, that's right. Planes should magically be able to fly to outer space just by going in a straight line.
If the ground was falling away from them at 8 inches per mile squared, and they maintained level flight, which one of those two statements is true? Well, the claim that the ground's falling away needs a flat Earth to measure first to claim it, so I'm going to discount that as being true. Planes maintaining level. Yeah, planes definitely maintain level flight. So, ergo, as a logical syllogism, you could explain that if the Earth was falling away from the plane that maintained level flight, then it would end up in a sky vacuum second law of thermodynamics violation. I have no issue whatsoever with this logic. Planes do maintain level flight. They don't fly off into space. They keep the ground parallel below them. Ergo, the ground is parallel below them and not falling away at 8 inches per mile squared. I see no issue whatsoever in this logic.
Nathan, he asked a question.
And the gyros.
If we're seeing a pattern here. I am seeing a pattern here. He's using a flat Earth for everything.
That's exactly how physics works.
Sorry, physics is the study of the physical and natural world, aka the scientific method. How physics works is you observe natural phenomena and ask yourself, I wonder why that happened. Maybe this caused it. Then you've got an independent variable, the thing you think caused it, and a dependent variable, the thing you're studying. Alongside that, you formulate a null. That's if your independent variable presumed cause of the effect is varied, it will not cause the effect. That's a null hypothesis, otherwise known as zero difference result. That is a scientific prediction. Upon experimentation, aka variation, of that which you assume may or may not cause the effect, you will either cause or not cause the effect, validating the null or the alternative hypothesis, the suppositional statement you made before experiment. That is physics. You declaring that planes aren't flying off to space when they maintain level flight is not physics. Shout out to Uncle Ben for the super chat. 1 second. Says this guy is easily the most despicable anti-flat earther. I don't know about despicable, he's just a liar. He lies about what level is, when it's absolutely and unequivocally required in his maths to be horizontal and parallel with eye level, both described and detailed as level. He just lied to his audience about level being something with respect to a horizontal plane of reference in the centre of hell, with a radial value going out to a spherical surface, that we wouldn't acquire the measurements to detail the relevant value to say how not level is when he says it's level. Just a liar, Uncle Ben. We've always known that about Dave. Check out his title. He calls himself a professor. No, liar. Plain and simple. Easy to demonstrate. Thank you for the super chat.
Well, gyros, they establish a horizontal plane before and during until touchdown again. That horizontal plane needs to be, it's the same. It doesn't change the reference. It's a level flight.
You totally don't need to expend energy to counteract gravity. Throw a ball straight up into the air. That should go all the way up into space too. This is one of the absolute dumbest things flat earthers say, because it's...
Sorry, you're accusing dumb when you're claiming forces of gravity. No. A defiance of your claim would be to demonstrate gas behaviour. Think you throw a gas particle up and it comes back down, go boom, boom, go splash, splash, when it expands in all directions at a high velocity? No, gas behaviour undoes the assertions of gravity, pulling all things to the centre of Earth. Gas doesn't behave that way. Have you never seen a cloud?
It's just them having no clue how planes work. When a plane...
What do we need to know? They maintain level flight. What more do we need to say? Level flight? You think level means it's going around the surface of a curved surface? No, that would decry the maths that asserts the curved surface. You stupid idiot.
Plane is flying, gravity is pulling it down, but there is lift pushing the plane up due to air hitting the under...
Sorry, pulling? You think pulling is something that a 109-year out-of-date force that's been superseded by bent space-time is doing? It's not a force, you stupid clown. Go on.
It's saying down. He needs a horizontal plane for that.
Yes, he does. How are you going to describe down if you haven't got a horizontal plane of reference to describe the deviation from that in the vertical? You can't. Yeah, he's got levels moving around the edge of a sphere. Curve angles coming from them. Centre of Hell's got a level plane of reference for him to describe angles out to the outside edge with a radial value. But the surface itself, suddenly the definition of level completely changes when you're a lying glurf like Dave. Because level undermines the principles of things like flight. They're maintaining level. Well, I need level to be curved, says Dave. Well, that buggers up your maths, doesn't it? How are you going to describe the curve itself if you haven't got level being level?
Yeah, spins don't have down or up.
Yeah, in or out for you, my friend.
Of the body and wings, which are specifically designed to maximize lift and keep it in the air. When these forces are equal, you have level flight, meaning...
As it's staying in the air, all the gas is going down, go boom, boom, isn't it? Right? It's all being pulled to the centre of mass by gravity. Mass attracting mass, the force of gravity. You're appealing to it, Newtonian gravity. Now, the air's got mass in that description. So surely it's got to cope with the gas go down, go boom, boom constantly, hasn't it? No, gas doesn't behave that way, though, does it? It spans in all directions, right? Also violating the sky vacuum you think that the planes wouldn't be flying off into as they maintain level flight. The sky vacuum would be an area of volume that the gas, which expands in all directions, violating this idea that all mass goes to the centre of Earth, would violate the idea that we've got a sky vacuum above our heads called outer space. We don't. Outer space is a joke. Gas doesn't go down, go boom, boom. Gravity's nonsense.
Constant altitude, and altitude conforms to the curvature of the Earth.
Really? What if level isn't level anymore? So he maintains level flight in his plane, but to get around it, Dave says level isn't level. Oh, well, isn't that interesting, Dave? Because that completely ballses up this mathematics that I've got on screen. Now, this mathematics shows that level, surface level, and level, eye level, aren't comporting to the outside edge of a sphere so that planes can maintain level. Oh, well, they're obviously all cushy if level isn't level, but when your maths needs level to be level, they're not level when they're maintaining flight across a curved surface. They'd be flying off into space if they maintain level, because your maths makes level, Dave. Not outside of edge of a sphere, Dave. That ballses up the description of level in the first place, because you haven't got a level anymore to describe how curved it is from.
Thank God he's not
Now,
a pilot.
on the Earth curve calculator diagram, if you add an airplane, the level will be parallel to eye level and parallel to the surface level, wouldn't it?
Yeah, when you maintain level flight, and you've got instruments that only deal with level, what would happen if you've maintained level? Well, you'd fly off into space, as per Earth curve mathematics, not as per Dave's lies about level not being level, and therefore all cushy when his plane flies around a curve. No, it would have to be nosing down the entire time, Dave. Yeah? To maintain level on a curved surface, it'd be like following a hill. If you're going to retain the same elevation above the surface, and the surface is curving away from you, you're going to have to nose the flight down. They don't, though, do they? To maintain good lift, they nose up to maintain level flight. Completely contradicting this garbage that is only thwarted by Dave's lies about level not being level. No, we can undo that, Dave, just by showing your own stupid maths.
They'd have to nose inward, not or outward.
Of course, sorry, I couldn't say down, could I? They can't nose down for him. He hasn't got a down. You'd need a horizontal plane of reference for that also. Nose in. Yeah. Should we call it there? We had enough? Yes, Nathan, I think this is a good opportunity to round out the live show. I agree. I think this is definitely the right moment to do that. So, with that, I'm going to say, if you are watching this on either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley premiering streams, then stay tuned, as there will be an after show to follow. Unfortunately, though, if you are watching this live, this is where we bid you farewell. So another massive thank you to all of you. Smashed the super chat, liked, commented, shared, subscribed, joined as a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member, gifted a membership, and all that good stuff. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I will see you all in the next video.